Hi, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the Green Dragon Podcast. I'm your host, Aiden. And on tonight's show, we are joined by Blaine and Melanie, who are some of Tom's friends from out west, who are starting a magazine that focuses on adventures and stories of the West. Really looking forward to talking with both of them tonight and just learning a little bit about their backstory and their life experiences. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome, Melanie and Blaine. It's a pleasure to have you on tonight.
Thank you so much.
Really looking forward to this. This is gonna be a great conversation.
Yeah, thank you, man. We're hyped to be here.
And for those of you who are just listening, Blaine's sitting there sipping on some Four Roses single barrel. So the man has good
Cheers,
taste.
yeah.
And now, actually, I didn't ask you before we started. Is that a barrel proof? Is that the barrel proof version, or is that just the 101 proof or the 100 proof version?
Just the 100.
Okay. And
Yep.
what I'm curious, sorry, I'm gonna nerd out a little bit here. What is the floor number on that one? It's like it's the number on the right hand side. You'll see the number next to, I forget what exactly it is. Can you read it off?
The warehouse number or the barrel number?
It would be it's gonna be the floor number, so it's gonna be the last number on the right. Whatever, just read off that whole front label, if you don't mind. I just want to know. I have a theory going here that I want to confirm. I'm sorry.
All right, so in the middle we have warehouse number GW.
GW, okay.
Barrel number 66-4W.
Okay, it's 4W. So that 4W, that's the floor that the barrel sat on.
Okay.
And it's my theory that any Four Roses single barrel that is floor 3 is okay. Floor 3 is okay, but 4 and 5 and 6 are amazing. So if you get a 4, 5, or 6, those are the bottles you want to buy. So I keep my eye out when I'm looking, and I only buy 4 and up. So you got, I imagine you got yourself a good bottle there.
I mean, it hasn't let me down.
No, I'm sure it's good. They're all good. That particular, the Four Roses, me and Jake joke about this sometimes, but the Four Roses 80 proof is like, it's okay. But then that single barrel 100 proof is really good stuff. And the small batch select, I don't know if you've had the small batch select. That's really good stuff too.
Yeah, it is.
Have you made it to that? Have you ever been to Four Roses Distillery?
You know, sadly, I haven't. Like, I grew up, oh shoot, I don't know, maybe 2 hours away from the Bourbon Trail. Okay. And for some reason, I just never did. Yeah. You know, it's like thick in my bloodstream, but I never made it over.
Yeah. No, I regret not, I've only been to one major distillery, and that was Jim Beam. But I kind of regret, I've taken a lot of trips back up north I've taken a lot of trips back up north to Chicago over the past few years and driven right through it and not stopped at any of them. So I think this year I got to plan a trip to at least a couple of them, because it's really, I mean, some of those, Jim Beam was impressive, but I've heard some of the other ones are equally as impressive. I heard Four Roses is really cool.
Well, and my wife and I, Mel, we're actually going to see my folks the week before the Thanksgiving. I mean, I'm just saying, maybe we can meet in the middle.
Wait, when are you driving back? Actually, that's funny you say that, because I'm driving back to Chicago the week before Thanksgiving.
What?
November 18th through the whatever that following Sunday would be.
Okay, I'll have to let you know. Because I'm trying to decide right now it would be wild. It would be wild. I'm trying to decide which days to come back, and I got to figure it out with work. But I'll let you guys know. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. But yeah, it's a neat drive. It's a neat drive up from the south too, and you get to like go through like the scenery change that flattens out as soon as you hit Kentucky. It's just these fields, and then you always see the signs pop up for all the different distilleries. And it's always tempted me. I'm always been like, oh, should I detour like 50 miles off the road to go do a tour and some tastings and then get back on the road for another 6 hours? Probably not the best idea. But yeah. But so you grew up, Blaine, you said 2 hours away from the Bourbon Trail. So where you mentioned Indiana. So where in Indiana is that?
Yeah, give or take. I was about 40 minutes southeast of Indianapolis.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I know. I kind of know where that's at. I usually take 65 all the way up,
Yep.
and it's just a straight shot most of the way up.
Yeah. A rinky dink little town called Carthage. We were so like if you took 65 and hit 70 and headed east, and then drop down south a hair, that's where we are.
Gotcha. Oh, okay, gotcha. That's cool. And how long so you said you stayed out there through undergrad?
Yes, sir. So I went to Ball State and I wrapped that up 5.5 years later in 2011. So yeah, I wasn't a fast track student by any means, but after that I moved out to Yosemite and lived in the national park for a while, and then West Virginia, then Wyoming, bopped around Wyoming, then moved to Montana, then Salt Lake, then back up to Wyoming. So kind of been everywhere.
You have been everywhere. So what I mean, like, is it for work? Is that the reason you traveled around, or is it just for the fun of moving? And
For my parents listening, yes. But no, my parents know that they kind of raised themselves a little dirt bag. And I got obsessed with rock climbing, oddly enough, in Indiana. And so I just kind of went where the best stone was, honestly.
Yeah. There's probably not too much stone in Indiana, is there?
No, we have Muscatatuck, and everyone can talk trash on it, but dadgummit, I'm from there, so I love it. Terrible, but it's awesome.
We do our fair share. I will say this. I'll be honest with you. We do our fair share of talking a little bit of shit about Indiana on this podcast sometimes.
Because I'm sure you do.
Because we're from Illinois and we think we're just superior. You know,
and I actually told Tom, I said, it's funny that y'all talk shit on us because we just pass it down the line because we trash talk Ohio.
Hey, that's so, fair. That's fair though. I mean, there's not a whole lot in Ohio either. And I'll take the Ohio school. I mean, the Indiana schools over the Ohio schools. Honestly, I can't stand. No, who cares about Ohio State? I'll take Indiana.
It's just much love, Ohio.
No, not that much love. So you said you spent some time in Yosemite? You lived there? You lived there? What? How? Like out of a cabin? Out of a tent? How?
I'm gonna chime in here. Blaine lived in a cave.
Yeah. So I did.
He was a caveman.
I ironically have a pretty funny story about. So I was actually driving down to the Red River Gorge, which is in Kentucky. But along the way, I heard that Alex Honnold was doing a talk at Ohio State. And so I was like, sweet, you guys, it's kind of a detour. Instead of blasting down 65 to hit Louisville, I was like, let's just jaunt over, hear the talk, and then we'll go down. And mind you, this was pre 60 minutes, like before Alex Honnold got massive, but I ran into him after the talk and kind of said, hey, bub, like, I'm really considering moving to Yosemite. Do you have any beta on like how to make it work there? Because ironically, Yosemite National Park, you can only camp 7 nights out of the year in the park. And so it kind of put me in a bind that I was going to try and live there. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything lined up. I was just like, I want to go rock climbing in Yosemite. And he kind of threw me some beta and kind of gave me some of the underground know-how, if you will. We won't go into details, but
All right.
I show up in the park, and sure enough, I pulled into employee parking, and I just put a handwritten note that was like, new employee, haven't gotten my tags yet. And just and so I left my car there and never got a ticket. Every now and then I'd move parking spaces, of course, but yeah, I lived in Yosemite for quite a while, just kind of living on packs of butter, because like a pack of butter is like 100 calories, so you just eat like 10 of those, and that's 1,000 calories. You're good for the day. And so that Monday mornings, you poach a lot of bear boxes because people have to fly out and they can't bring food or drink with them. So you would check all the bear boxes and like salvage up all the food. And then, yeah, I eventually got a job working at the gift store and stayed there through the season. And it was incredible, but then student loans wanted their money, so I had to go get a real job.
Oh, that's a tough one. So wait, when you say you lived there for a while, how long is a while? Are we talking one full calendar year?
No, heavens,
Okay.
no. I wish. So like
6 months.
Yeah, so I was dirt bagging, living kind of wherever I could, hopping in caves and in friends' tents and whatever you can do to survive and not get caught by the National Park Service. 2 months, and then landed the job, and that would have been March, April. So by May I would have had the job and worked that through mid-October, and then I headed out, and then I loaded the car up and headed to West Virginia.
Wow. That's crazy. Did you have any close encounters with getting caught while you were doing that? Like, what did you have any close calls?
I really didn't. I got very fortunate. That's kind of the beauty of Yosemite is when you're there, like long term, and people know you're there. Some of the older dirt bags, for lack of a word, will kind of take you under their wing, and they mentored me very well on, just kind of keeping a low profile.
Which caves people check.
Yeah, don't have a raging fire with a bunch of dudes over, and you'll probably be okay.
Give you like the cheat sheet with like the patrols and like the times to like go
for sure.
Yeah.
Ironically, I did see Alex in Yosemite, and we were at a Real Rock event, which is for people that don't know, Real Rock is a annual tour where climbing movies get premiered for the year. And I was standing in line, and I hear this fella that was like, "Oh, they're all out of cups." I really wanted one because they had these really nice, like stainless steel cups. And I turned around I spoke before I even turned around, and I just said, "Hey, I have 2 of them. You want one?" And I realized it was Alex Honnold. And I was like, "Daggum, like, you're famous now, bro. Like, I met you in Ohio, but you're big. You're the real deal." And I gave him a cup. And yeah, I kind of chatted with him for a minute. And, it was like, you made my life out here so much easier. Like, I've had the utmost gratitude.
Do you remember you?
Yeah, vaguely. Yeah. He was like, "I think you're that kid that was like in Ohio or something that said you were going to move out? And I was like, here I am. Like,
Found me.
howdy.
That's yeah. I
So that
mean,
was kind of a neat experience.
that's really crazy. I mean, like it takes I'm sure did it take a lot to just like for you just to go out and say, hey, I'm gonna move from Indiana to Yosemite, not really knowing anything, or just you kind of
Yeah.
went for it. Went for it. How did your parents feel about that one? Because that one that I can imagine, like, knowing my parents, they'd probably be like, what are you doing? You're not moving anywhere.
So to put this into perspective, we're all Midwestern boys here.
Mhm.
So we know we're tight-knit families, right?
Yeah.
My brother lives across the street from my parents.
Mhm.
And the day I graduated, we have a cabin in Minnesota. And so I went up and saw them. And we hung out for a week, got back to Indiana. It's 802 miles, like from my parents' house to the cabin. So we got in at like 11:30, and I told my folks and was like, tomorrow I'm leaving. And my folks were just utterly floored. And I was like, I love y'all. You are beyond gracious and too good to me. But I was like, I have to go do this. And by 4 a.m, I had chump change to my name, a bag of clothes, a bag of climbing gears, and at the time, 2 packs of cigarettes. And I was like, well, see you later. And just took off. And it was hard. Like at the time, like driving that long by myself is kind of when it started to set in that it was like, holy mackerel. Like, what am I doing out here? Why am I going this direction? My family's back that way. But I don't know. Climbing grabbed a hold of me, and it was like most climbers feel that draw. It's like a pilgrimage. Like you have to go to Yosemite if you rock climb. And so it was like, I have to go do this. I have to do it. And so I just headed west in my 2011 Ford Escape that was bright orange and took off.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Now, when you say you're into rock climbing, do you mean like the Alex Honnold like free solo, or are you using ropes?
That's fair. That's a valuable question because, as we all know, there's memes all over the internet about like hanging out with friends that don't rock climb. Hey, do you free solo like Alex Honnold? You know. I have soloed. I've sold a handful of things. I now have a lovely wife and realize that the risk isn't worth the reward.
It's okay. We just got a great life insurance
Yeah.
plan.
Yeah, now we're good to go.
She's like, you can do whatever you want now.
But predominantly, yes, I use ropes. Yeah, like I said, I've sold a handful of things, but to me personally these days, the risk isn't worth that reward. And for people that it is, like, kudos, good on them. But I love my wife. I love my life. Like, you know, it's not for me. I got good homies that I work with, like Tom. There's no reason for me to go out and
risk literally
that
everything.
Anymore. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I just wanted to make sure that was the case.
Yeah, for sure. Cheers.
It is pretty fascinating though, watching that 60 minutes, and I think they did like a deep dive kind of into Honnold's psyche and how like that's the only way he can like find fulfillment is taking risks like that, which is just crazy to me.
It really is. And I mean, some people are wired that way, but for me, I was just like, you know, nowadays, like, and I barely play in the big mountains these days. Once again, it's more risky. But that's about the only time I will solo is like you get to the top of a climb and it's like you got 40 more feet to go to get to a belay station. Yeah, let's just untie and get it done. but like I said, I rarely even touch that stuff anymore.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I have a lot of respect for that. I can't say that I don't think I could ever do the reason I have so much respect for it is I don't think I could ever do it. I've rock climbed a few times in my life and it's not my thing. It freaks me out. There's just something about being up that high and relying on my my body to keep me up there, even if there is ropes, and I'm like, nope, sorry, not my thing.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
But it's amazing to watch. Do you know what scares me, but also is super crazy, is those guys that climb, the urban climbers that do the skyscrapers. I don't know if you've seen those videos. Those are the craziest guys in the world. I mean, to be like 600 feet in the air on a piece of like metal and glass with nothing but chalk is just insane.
Yeah, that stuff's slick. Like, at least rock is sticky.
And repetitive.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I've been trying to get old Tom out to climb, but
come on,
yeah.
Tom.
You'll do it. You'll do
Tom
it.
will do
an
it. We can peer pressure him. Tom's peer pressurable.
Well,
with the right people.
It's
With the
true.
right people, we can make this happen.
Well, I climbed for a week in college, so
Okay.
I did, yeah, I got up
Awesome.
to 10 Cs.
Okay.
Which is crazy good,
What?
dude.
For a week, but it was just a whole week of just full immersion, so that
Dang.
helped. But
For
I don't know,
people that
1 week of climbing, that's insanely good.
yeah, I don't know what I could do now. Maybe like
I'm the
5 days.
tank.
for people that don't know, and especially the ladies out there, Tom is swole, son. I think he'd be a phenomenal rock climber. He just needs to try it more.
I would
There
like
you
to
go.
get out.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aiden, was like my training partner back home, so we would power lift in his garage,
Oh, cool.
Nice.
and so definitely like a little bit of athletic life there. But I'd like to explore more things, and I don't know, Aiden. I think we could get you on the rocks out here. We could do like 20-foot routes. It's nothing bad.
But see, we could also go to Georgia and climb at Rocktown.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Just
I mean, there's some decent there's actually a few spots right next of about 5 minutes from me along the Chattahoochee River, because you get a couple, there's some decent bluffs along the river. And if you walk out on the trails along the river on the weekends, there's a few spots where guys will climb. And they're pretty deep. I mean, I don't know what this is. I mean, it's not anything crazy, but I mean, there's a few 150 to 100-foot bluffs along the river.
That's cool.
So it's pretty neat. And I mean, I can imagine too, like you get the crazy view from up there on top of the bluff after you're done looking down on the river. So that's kind of nice.
Yeah, I mean the view is right, the cherry on top. There's a fellow carpenter in town. He's a little bit retired here in Lander, but he still picks up some jobs. But Frank Dussel, he's like one of the OG founding fathers of Lander rock climbing. And Frank, in my opinion, put it best. Like, the view is wonderful, but it's not necessarily about the view. It's about the journey it takes to get there. It's clipping the third bolt, or and I think that's where legitimately y'all's boy Tom would really dig it, is that it's such a physical, mental, like, achievement that it's less about the grades, the views. It's the hard journey that you take to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely.
yeah. What was it? The rock doesn't lie. Is that what you say?
Yeah.
Lie.
The rock never lies. I mean, you can think you're hot stuff, but you can get humbled pretty quickly on rock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. I don't know. You'll still I have some more. You'll have to do some more talking me into this before I try anything, Tom. So
Okay.
I mean, Jake's pretty quiet. We might need. You might be the one intrigued.
He's scheming.
Get the GoPro up there, record the podcast from there.
There you go. Now you're thinking, Jake. You're thinking about the views, right?
Yeah, that's what we should shoot for.
Yeah, there we go. We'll do a podcast on the rocks.
I like it.
Podcast on the rocks
That's a great idea.
with bourbon on.
With bourbon. That might get a
We'll
little
just have
dicey.
camel
That might
packs
get a
of
little
bourbon.
dicey. Yeah. About halfway up the climb, we'll be a little intoxicated and not know where we are, what we're doing, or it might be hard, hard enough to podcast, let alone continue climbing.
Oh, do something.
Too funny. Well, Mel, I think we should maybe get a little bit of your backstory too, because I think that's important. Maybe you can explain how you met Blaine too.
How did I meet Blaine?
You know, I just don't know if it's radio appropriate.
It's always
you didn't meet him on climbing.
it's fun to go after Blaine because he can just talk for hours. Actually, Blaine and I met in a pretty cute way, I'm not gonna lie. So I did a little bit of bopping around, less cross country than he did, but I did lots of Montana, Wyoming, Utah moves. And I was going to UW in Laramie, and I had a night class. And after that, it was I don't know, like 8 or 9 or something, and the student union was still open where the beer gardens was, and I
Showed up at 8:34 p.m. every
he jokes. And Blaine was working the beer gardens, and so he was the front desk guy, so he IDs me, and I go in, and all of a sudden he's my bartender. He has his own side of the story to that, but it apparently has to do with watching me walk in and making someone switch jobs with him.
It's a great story.
And yeah, I don't know. I was talking about Harry Potter, and he kind of chimed in, and I thought he was a cutie, so I wrote my number on $1 and handed it to him.
That was my tip for the evening. She gave me $1 with her phone number on it.
Nice.
Technically, you weren't allowed tips, so I thought it was kind of cute. And later on, a couple weeks later, I mean, I'd go there every week, and he'd have a nitro milk stout waiting for me at 8:34 or whatever time it was every week. Once we started hanging out a little more, we were downtown one time, and we just started walking and talking, and we walked a few blocks, and the way Blaine tells the story, he thinks I'm following him or coming home with him or whatever, and we're just totally distracted, and he stops and he says, okay, well, this is my house. And I go, are you kidding me? That's my house. We lived 2 houses away, so we saw a lot more of each other after that, and we've seen a lot more of each other since then. So yeah, that was what, 8 years ago?
Almost
8 years ago.
Yep.
So yeah,
I just
that's how
wrote her
Blaine and I
down.
met.
Wonderful story.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
He was
That's
persistent, and I love that for him. It worked.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, did you grow up in Wyoming then, or you mentioned Montana, or was it Montana? Okay.
So I'm from Billings, Montana, born and raised.
From Billings. Okay.
Yep.
Gotcha.
5th generation Montanan. I don't know if you care. I moved to Laramie for my first year of undergrad. Then I moved back to Montana because I had mono. And then I decided to
Ooh.
be a ski bum in Utah. And then that ended and I moved back to Montana. Went back to school in Laramie, met Blaine. We moved back to Billings, down to Salt Lake again, and now we're in Lander. So
That's
not
crazy.
not
You
as
bet-
much cross country, like I said, but
Hey,
a
still
little
had,
bit of bopping for me.
yeah, you still had quite the moves up and down. There was a hot
Yeah.
minute. There was a hot minute when I wanted to, at the end of high school, I wanted to move to Billings, Montana. I don't know. Well, actually, I know why.
Really?
Do you know? Are you guys familiar with Steve Ranella and the Meat Eater podcast or any of that? There,
Little bit.
For sure.
He's the
Yeah.
hunter, and so
Yep.
I think they're based out of Billings, and I'm pretty sure that like end of high school, I was like, I'm gonna move to Billings, Montana. This is gonna be, and then like reality set in. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go like 30 minutes down the road to underground. Psych. It was between
Yeah.
Bill. I was like, I'm gonna move to Montana or Florida, and then I ended up, 30 minutes down the street in Illinois. But that's how it works. And yeah, no, that's great. What is Billings, I've always wanted to go. So what is Montana like? Because I've heard it's a whole lot of nothing other than maybe Billings.
It's really hard to describe Montana sometimes. There's big mountains in the west, and the plains in the east are just as pretty as like Wyoming and like the Great Plains, but I can't really categorize Montana as one
State.
like environment, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And
yeah.
especially Billings, it's kind of a wonky town. It's industrial. They call it the trailhead to Montana because it's on the southeastern border.
Mhm.
And most of the time people aren't I'm sorry, Aiden. People aren't coming to Montana to see Billings. They're coming to see Bozeman, Missoula, the Flathead Valley, kind of
Sure.
those things.
Sure. No, I mean, it all worked out for the best for me. So I'm glad I didn't make it to Billings either. I was just curious when you said that. I was like, why did I want to move to Billings, Montana?
I think what she meant to say was, I heard Colorado's nice this time of year. Go to Colorado.
Go to Colorado. That's the move. I've heard Colorado's beautiful. I heard
of
like
course it is.
Fort Collins and Denver area is beautiful.
It is.
It is.
Mel and I jokingly call ourselves gatekeepers. And so one of our biggest jokes is that, oh, I heard Colorado's nice this time of year. You should go to Colorado.
Bypass
Yeah.
around Wyoming.
Well, luckily the interstate doesn't even drive through like the prettiest parts of Wyoming, so I think we're golden.
It's true. It's very boring.
Yeah.
I-80 is just sagebrush.
Yep.
If
And
you-
clouds and
Clouds, yeah.
a couple cows.
Yep. A couple tumbleweeds here and there.
Manufactured clouds.
Yeah.
There we go.
I should tell you what,
throwing
Nathan.
up some conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
I love it.
That.
I love it. If our podcast became a completely conspiracy theory podcast, I'd be up for it. I'm just saying, Tom.
All we're saying is clouds don't look the same as they used to.
We have some very strange things happen out where we're at. There was one time we were out and Ben was listening to a podcast about aliens, and super black ops operations and all this stuff. And we talk about it for a couple hours at work amongst other things. And we're driving out and there's this car driving down the road that has UAS on it. And we look it up and it's like unmanned aerial services or something like that. So very
sketchy.
And then I'm driving out past where we're working in Split Rock and there's this mountainside. And no joke, there's this massive white screen on the side of the mountain. It's just sitting there. I have pictures of it. It's huge. And there's no other anything around. There's no antennas, there's no cables, there's no power lines, there's nothing. It's just this huge white. It looks like an outdoor movie theater screen. It's just
Huh.
sitting out there. And so we're going back and forth about stuff like, do you think there's something under that mountain? Or so
That's
If the
crazy.
government's loving or listening, we love you.
yes.
Yeah. All the love to the government, the 3-letter agencies. We believe in you. We trust in you. You know, we know you have our best interest in mind.
Pay your taxes, red, white, and blue.
Yeah, I pay my taxes every year on time. I just want to put that out there. You know,
Yep.
those
Yep,
75,000
same.
new IRS agents can stay away from my apartment, please.
Yeah.
I heard it was 84.
Oh, sorry, 84.
Yeah.
And they're armed. They're heavily armed, you know, because
Yeah.
taxes get dangerous.
They're very serious.
They're very, it's, you know, because I'm sure, you know, showing up at like Granny's house for the like $3 she missed on her tax forms really gonna it's gonna bail us out. We're gonna that's how we're gonna get out of our national debt, actually. It definitely had, you know, has nothing to do with us sending billions to Ukraine and Israel, and that has nothing to do with it.
No,
No.
obviously not.
No. Sorry, I'll get
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine.
Everything's fine. There's nothing to see here. Oh, too funny. Oh, sorry. I got us derailed here a little bit. I tend to do that. I do want to before I totally forget and we get to the end of the podcast, I realize I asked you 0 questions about the magazine. Can we talk about the magazine real quick? Because I want to learn a little bit more about this. Because I was like, oh yeah, they've got a magazine about the West and focusing on kind of like outdoor adventures and stuff like that, or in the West. And I was like, that's pretty cool. But also I was thinking like a magazine, like I don't know, a magazine.
Yeah.
I was like 2023, a magazine. I was like, I got to learn more about this. This sounds interesting. This actually, see, I think that's the thing you got going for you. A magazine 10 years ago would have been like, oh, you're just another magazine. Magazine in 2023.
Yeah.
It's definitely raising eyebrows.
It raises eyebrows. It catches you. I think you got something.
I mean, one of the biggest things is like, granted, we're nerdy. You know, we have.
Why are you looking at me like that?
He's like, we're nerdy.
We have like,
Yeah.
I forgot we're on a podcast.
That's all right.
No.
Nobody really watches it. Most people listen to it, so I think you should be all right.
we have like, I don't know, we're like those nerdy kids that have a buttload of vinyl, you know. So like, yeah. I love hard copies.
I got
like today at work, Tom's brother Ben was like, here's a hard copy for your timesheets, and I was like, oh, these are my people. You know, it was like, oh, awesome, man. And I hate to say it, but the hipsters of the world unite. And like, I think print it's not dying. I think there's a weird, for a lack of words, just like movies, like a cult following that loves print.
Absolutely.
You know, and a small town like Wyoming or Lander, Du Bois, Riverton, you know, these small communities, that was actually what I fell in love with Wyoming, was like people slow down and read the paper. Mm-hmm. And so I don't know. I don't think print's fully dead, and I think it's like kind of making a rise again, especially because the government tracks everything. But you know, so if you can print things, it's kind of dope. And her parents run a fabulous magazine that's super agricultural based, and they approached us with this concept of doing an adventure side because Mel has been a ski bum. I am way into rock climbing. And we live in a very outdoorsy community. It just kind of made sense. I'm gonna let my sweetheart take over after this.
It is agricultural based, but what my parents are telling are enlightening and inspirational stories, and doing the 8 to 5 grind was kind of sucking my soul out. And like Blaine said, we do live more adventurous lives in an adventurous community. And the more I started thinking about it, I realized we could probably make it happen. We could probably start a magazine. And piggybacking on what he said, yes, we are doing print. I'm very excited to be doing print, but we also are going to have an online version as well. So I don't know. My folks have 26 states of people who subscribe. I mean, people still read print, and that has me really excited. So what we want to do is just feature outdoor adventures of really down to earth people doing inspirational, genuine, I mean, like the dark horses of adventure out there getting after it. They're not braggy. They're not out there advertising themselves. It's my job to tell their story. And I feel like doing it locally, print might be a great way to go. I mean, if your homie's in a magazine, you're going to want a copy of that.
Oh yeah.
Plus, since it's advertising based, it's free.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So copies for everybody.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. It's a dream in the works right now. It's definitely happening. We are making things happen, but first issue will be in January. So
that's so exciting.
That is
we're doing
awesome.
it. Yeah.
No, I'm excited for you. And it's kind of funny that you bring up Prince not dying. And this is no way a plug for my job either. I'm actually not going to plug it. I've actually never talked about the name of the company I work for here, but I will say it's a paper company. So I'm very excited that you guys are, thank you. You're keeping me in business. All right. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. So I'm in no way complaining here. I want to say them on air, but no, it's a great industry. It's not totally going away. Like you said, I think the nostalgia of having that, especially the cover too, that's a huge thing. I can't tell you how many magazine or print, whether it's a program from a baseball game, whether it's a local magazine that I bought because a team won. I actually have one framed for my college. They're a D3 school and they won the national championship in football. It was their first national championship ever. Bought the magazine, framed it, and so I've got that sitting up on my on one of my shelves. So it's cool because I think magazines, and if you can find a newspaper print with like a cool like front cover, like that's awesome too. But there's like for me, there's that nostalgia behind it of like, I used to get the Sports Illustrated Kids. So you get you'd see your favorite athlete on the cover of that magazine and you'd save that issue because you love that athlete. It's that type of thing. There's something so cool about it. And you want to like collect those, hang on to them. My most prized magazine, I'll tell you this, my most prized magazine is the 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series. The only World Series I'll ever see as a Chicago Cubs fan. I'm just putting that out there. I've got the magazine and I'll never let go of that thing because that thing's basically priceless in my eyes because I'll never see another one ever. But no, there's something really cool about that. So I'm glad you guys are doing that because to be honest, I was getting a lot of magazine subscriptions. I was getting Sports Illustrated, In Fisherman, a couple other ones, and I'd get those in the mail monthly, and I loved it because then you have something to look forward to in the mail every month. Like it comes in the mail. It's kind of like a package. Like you get to you're like, oh, what's going to be in this month's issue? It's a physical copy, so you get to touch it too. Like online, it in my eyes, it's not much different than opening up a news article online. Like there's just
Right.
there's not
No.
that same feeling behind it. So I'm right there with you guys. I totally prefer a print issue over having that physical copy. There's something special there.
And I think you're right. It builds an anticipation
Mm-hmm.
that online just can't. And
Mhm.
and mind you, like Mel said, we want to do online.
Mhm.
We live in 2023. You
And
have to.
Sure.
Based in
Yeah.
Wyoming, we can
Yeah.
we can only distribute so
But
far.
but actually Chris Slingerland,
Oh yeah.
it's so shout out to our boy Chris.
Love you, Chris.
Phenomenal welder. Um, he's helping out Tom and I's crew with some welding gigs, but he called me today and he's really good friends with the gentleman, Alan Mendel. For anyone that's wrapped up in the mountain bike world, you understand, like, Alan is a Red Bull sponsored athlete,
Mhm.
and he grew up here in Lander, Wyoming, a town of 7,000. And it's like, Alan's going to sit down with us Friday.
Yeah, we get to hear his
And
story.
and so we're going to write a story on like this hometown hero, you know what I mean? It's like I agree there's something to it, getting something in the mail or like when it drops being like, oh man, like this is the Allen issue. Sick.
Mhm.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You like want to flip through the
Spring
pages.
2024.
Yeah.
Like in
Just saying, spring 2024.
and so and we feel really blessed to live in this community that's like, you know, uh granted, rest in peace, Todd Skinner, but like Todd and Paul and Amy Skinner and Heidi, and those are massive rock climbing names. Like Todd and Paul were the first people to actually free climb El Cap, and Paul is a Lander legend, and it's like Paul's getting a bit older. I actually heard him on my boy, shout out to Chris O. Hampton on his podcast. Like Paul's admitted that like his brain is slightly slipping and he wants to get his stories out.
Mhm. Mhm.
We want to share those stories with the
Yeah.
world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Paul's a phenomenal human. I don't want those, and he's done phenomenal things. I don't want that to fade away into the mist,
Yeah.
and so our magazine is hopefully a platform for people with crazy amazing adventures to share that.
It's just an honor. I can't
Yeah.
wait to share
Mhm.
people's stories.
Yeah. Isn't it so much fun?
If they don't want to tell
Yeah.
themselves, it's going to be an absolute honor to share that with others for them. I mean, I can't wait.
I'm sure it's similar to y'all's podcast. You know what I mean? I mean, you guys get to bring on guests and share stories and that maybe y'all would have never lived.
Oh no, yeah.
Yeah, and that's the fun part, you
Mhm.
know.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You get to have people on from different backgrounds and chat about things that you never really would have thought to sit down and talk about on a regular day. And so it's a real blessing to have those interactions.
Right. We want to take what y'all are doing and just put it in written form.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's great. That's awesome. It sounds like you guys got quite the lineup. So are you already planning out issues for next year? Do you have those like
Big
lined
time.
up? Okay.
Yeah, we have dates, so it'll be quarterly. So our first issue will be January,
Okay.
and it'll be based by the season. So quarterly, I think it'll be kind of nice to be able to start off with winter, then spring, then summer. It's nice to be able to categorize. Obviously, we live in the Rocky Mountains, so we're
Yeah.
very much 4 season sports out here. It's going to be
Mhm.
fun to be able to kind of categorize events and stories and things that are happening and what people are doing based on the seasons. So that's what we're doing. 4 issues a year, and yeah, we're gonna romp with the seasons, and I'm so excited to be able to talk about it that way, because that's how I think of life. What are we doing this winter? What are we doing this spring? It's gonna be nice. So
Rock climbing. That's what we're doing this season.
He's already got it planned
All
out. Doesn't matter what season it is.
Yeah. Why do you think we moved to Lander? You can climb year round.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
For a backstory.
Yep. When we first started dating, Blaine said, "Mel, I'll live anywhere you want as long as it's within 4 hours from Lander." So that's why we kind of did our
Oh.
Montana, Utah circle there, because it was 4 hours from Lander. We've always lived in a radius, and then we finally got to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
We ain't leaving.
No. I'm gonna work with this old feller Tom until I'm old enough to garden and sell at a farmer's market.
That's right.
Nice.
Jaden,
Nice.
Blaine and Mel are hopefully building their house in the spring, and they'll be part of the cruise project. So
Oh, nice.
it should be pretty awesome.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. So then what made you choose Lander? So we've had, Tom, I don't know what our tally is right now. We've had quite a few people on from Wyoming Catholic College. So we've had quite a few people on from the area. So what made you guys, you said you moved around quite a bit in that like 4-hour radius, but what made you come back to Lander?
Can you guess? Do you wanna
I've
guess?
got a few things up here that I can think of, and I think Blaine knows that I know too. But I'm asking you, Mel, what made you come back?
Absolutely climbing.
Yeah. I mean, to be completely blunt, and for everyone that doesn't live around here, Colorado's really nice this time of year. But, I've been blessed, and I've gotten to climb in Vietnam. I've gotten to climb in Thailand. I've climbed all over the country.
Wow.
Landerstone it's the best in the country, in the world. It's phenomenal, and I can't imagine living anywhere else. But more importantly, honest to goodness, like
The community.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it.
Like, I mean, I used to be a victim advocate for the county. And it was a beautiful job. It really was. A lot of heartache, right? Because you see some of the terrors that happen in a community. But actually, Tom's brother Ben, I ran into him at a local grocery store, and I told him that I was looking to build a home, and he said, "I'm looking to start a new business." And so I was like, oh, word. Because yeah, kismet. And I loved my job as a victim advocate, but it did break my heart kind of daily to just see what people do to each other. And I'm sorry to dive down that rabbit hole, but it ripped me up. And I got to join this crew, and I got to meet Tom, And then it was like all the beauty of this community like came back to me, and I was like, pardon my language, holy shit. Like, there are such phenomenal humans in this community, and Tom was a huge part of that for me. And I don't know, it was like I got to meet this fine gentleman and I work with him, and life is an utter blessing because of it, you know? And so like Lander is, yeah, there's good rock climbing in the world, but like Lander's special.
It's kind of
You know,
uncomfortable.
we
Really
kind of
is.
found our home, you know what I mean? It was like, oh shit, the rock climbing's phenomenal, and I get to work with humans like y'all's boy Tom. Like, sold. I'm in.
We have a
Done.
saying, we're only gonna move one more time, and that's into the house when it's built.
It's gonna be
One
good.
last move.
That's awesome. That's
We're
awesome.
stoked, yeah.
That's great. So did you guys pick out so where are you building then? Are you building close to town? Or are you building outside of town on land or?
Just a little outside of town. It's off of Willow Creek. I don't know if any locals know that, but like the New Grand Cedars area, it's in the foothills of the Winds. Like maybe 15 minutes outside of town. So
Nice.
Beautiful spot.
we're excited. Yeah. We're we're dorks. We watch HGTV every single morning with our coffee, and we just start brainstorming, you know, our themes, our plans. We went out there with, you know, flags and staked it out the other day. This is where the pond's going. This is where the greenhouse is going. This is where our hobbit whole cellar's gonna go. And
Yeah,
Now-
Tom knows about this
we
house.
be scheming.
I like it.
Very good idea.
I like it. Now the
Wait.
question I have is, Blaine, I know there's great rock climbing out by you, but are you gonna put in any sort of rock climbing facility in or around your house? Because I feel like that's an important. Some sort of
Oofda.
wall of something. Come on, man.
All right, dude.
Come
So,
on, man.
Again, Aiden, is this really a question?
so the plan is, I first and foremost, I feel very blessed. My old man is a car guru, and I kind of need to build a shop big enough for a lot of cars. I love my brother, but he doesn't give a shit about cars. So we got to build a decent sized shop. And our thought right now is cars on the main level, and instead of a mother-in-law upstairs, we're gonna have a climbing wall
Nice.
that goes up to the upstairs, and
Ah,
then there will be a training facility up on the upstairs. Yes. So
Very
we
nice.
will have climbing and a buttload of cars, and actually for Mel, we kind of, our property kind of has a lot of downhill potential, so we're gonna put in
Can I help you?
a little ski run for her as
yeah.
well,
Little
because
pulley cable system. I mean, we have a pretty steep hill behind our house, so if I can just
she's
get
a little
buggy
ski
up
bunny.
there.
Put some little
Nice.
vocals in there,
That's
you know.
right. That's right. Some jumps.
Nice. That's awesome. That's the dream right there.
It's the
That's
dream.
the dream. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for you guys. That sounds fantastic to be building kind of your do you think this is your kind of dream forever home?
Forever.
Without a doubt.
That's
Forever.
awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Yeah, I'm sure it's an amazing feeling to find that spot where you're like, okay, yeah, we could see.
I knowing how entrepreneurial Mr. Tom is, I've wanted to kind of poach him. I almost wore my alpha shirt today. I was like, but I was like, man, that would be day 4 out of 7. I should probably wash it. So, but
I'm glad. Hey, I'm glad it's holding up then. I mean, that's great
Uh,
news. That's great news. I love it.
For now.
for anyone that's listening, like, you gotta get one, man.
Super soft.
I'm 6'4" and 170 pounds. Like, and a large, guess what? I washed it and it's not a belly shirt for me. Thank
That's
you,
great.
gentlemen.
You're welcome.
Thank
we
you.
we aim to please. We aim to please.
Yup.
Yeah.
Only the best.
Praise.
We only put out the best. No, that was kind of one of the things that when we were coming out with stuff, we were like, you know what? It's always great when you find that shirt that fits you. And it's not always the same for everybody, but we found a few that we really liked and we're like, okay, let's run with these. And I've got one, Blade, we'll be dropping these again soon, but I've got a few that are these. We came out with a bourbon, like bourbon is my spirit animal shirts and stuff like that.
Arr.
And so
I'll let you know when they come out.
and so they'll be up soon. I was supposed to have them up this past week, but then I've been so busy at work I haven't gotten around to it. So I've got the design, so they'll be up soon. But man, I wear mine probably like 2 days a week, at least every week. Mine's getting a little worn out. I got to replace mine. I think I'm well, you know what, Blaine? You got to wait until I come out with the hoodies too, because it's probably getting close to hoodie season and Lander. So, yep, we'll come out with the hoodies too. So.
It's supposed to snow
Thursday.
Screw
that. I'm glad I'm here. I'm glad I'm here in Georgia. We got 80s over the weekend. We're chilling. It's fantastic. We got the fall. See, this is the best of all worlds. We've got the fall colors, full season change, and we've got 80s on the weekend. So you guys enjoy your snow. You guys keep that.
These early storms never last long.
As long as it's as whatever hoodie y'all gonna design or have designed, as long as it's in the olive color that you already have, sold.
It's a very handsome
Sold.
color.
I'll buy it all.
Tom, we've got that olive color in that hoodie you got, right?
Yep.
Okay. That hoodie. So Tom's got one of those hoodies. It's a new hoodie, and we're a big fan of it. It's got on the side arms with the American flag patch that we do. It's like a rubber texture, right, Tom? I don't know if
it's like rubber.
It's really nice.
They did a really good job with the print. So instead of almost like that plastic finish that kind of starts to rub off, it's almost like it's put into the threads. So it lasts a lot longer.
It's almost like a laser printed front to it, like a laser. Yeah, it's interesting. It's a nice hoodie. They're nice.
Rubber embed.
Yeah, they're really nice. Yeah, we upgraded a little.
But I have had enough of that 4 Roses. Please tell me a little bit more about the Green Dragon podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm going to send it at you.
Okay. All right. Yeah. We won't spend too much time on us because I want to make sure we cover everything on you. But yeah, we started this podcast because me and Tom were like, you know what? It'd be cool. I enjoyed listening to Joe Rogan, and I was always like, he always does some great interviews, and it's always so conversational with him. And I always thought it was really neat, and I really enjoyed listening to him. And I was like, it'd be cool if we could do something like that where we could get people on that we know, or even I think the biggest thing for us is we noticed that there wasn't a lot of podcasts with young guys talking about America, the things that are going on in our country, and then also just American history. If you look up like American history podcasts on some of the big events, there's just not a lot of good stuff out there. So we kind of came at it from a couple different angles, and we were like, you know what, let's start a podcast that covers a little bit, ties in the current events going on in America and kind of our takes and opinions on it. And let's tie that into some of the core messages that our founding fathers had and some of those like key and pivotal points in American history. Let's tie those together a little bit. So that's how it started. And so our first time, what was it? Like 10 podcasts were really focused around the Bill of Rights and some of the founding documents of the country. And like I said, it was a shaky start. I mean, we did a 1 year anniversary. We did a 1 year anniversary episode, and we went back and we watched some of that stuff and reacted to it. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is painful to watch.
we always like to say we were like those 3 kids in the group project in college that like waited until the night before to prepare their presentation.
Exactly.
And then started on it. So,
Exactly.
I think we've come a long way since then.
So yeah, I mean, we've done shoot, what is it now, guys? Close to total, I think we've done close to 55 or 60 episodes now.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, so we've done we've done at least one a week. And it's been a combination of kind of these types of shows where we just get on and talk with somebody about any sort of topic, and then we've got some that are foundations of freedom episodes, which those are based around historical events, like key historical moments or historical figures in American history. So we've done 10 or so of those. So like things like the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, figures like George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, stuff like that. And those are really fun because we get to do a little bit of like deep dive back into the history books and read about stuff. We should be coming out with some soon. And if you guys got any ideas, let us know. But we've got some on the Wild West. So like Wyatt Earp and the Alamo and stuff like that. So that should be a lot of fun. Davy Crockett and the Gold Rush. Those should be a lot of Oregon Trail. Yeah.
There's supposedly, I've never seen it, but supposedly there is a hideout in the Wind River Range, which is our
backyard.
Our backyard. There's a hideout for Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
Really?
Straight up.
What?
Yeah, dude.
Oh, we should find out.
Allegedly.
I know.
I feel like Tom. Come on.
I feel
we need
like
some podcast content.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go find it and do the podcast.
There you go. I like this.
Totally do this.
Can we hotspot this?
Starlink. You set up Starlink. That should work, right?
Right.
Oh, there it is.
There it is. Yeah.
And mind you, the first time I ever saw Starlink blew my noodle.
You thought we were gonna invaded by aliens or something like that?
Yeah, dude, straight up, man. Like me, Mel, and a couple or two of our friends, Caleb and Amber,
Another shout out.
other sweethearts. So we were hanging out in Sinks Canyon, and we decided to camp. And all of a sudden, Caleb was like, "Hey, look, there's a satellite." And 12
solo satellite admirations, of course, you know.
Yeah,
Wow.
12 seconds later, he was like, "Hey, there's another." And then we were like, "Wow, that's a trip." And then we were like, "Oh my Lanta, there's another." And there's another.
And another.
Mhm.
And another. And it literally filled the sky. And this was
just a couple of years ago.
2019, I want to say. But it was like very new to Starlink. And it was like the whole sky just filled.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a trip, man.
What's going on?
It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. I saw one. So I was driving down to visit my sister in Pensacola. She's on the Marine base down there, and we were driving down through. I think we were we might have been in Alabama at that point, but we were driving down there, and we saw these things in the sky, and we're like, "What the heck is that?" Because it's like, for those of you who are listening that haven't seen it, it's like a trail of these lights, almost like stars lined up in this perfect line. And I was like,
Yep.
what is that? And there was two of them. And I was like, what is going on? I was like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then we realized, we looked it up later and we figured out it was Starlink. But I was just like, that. If I didn't know that was Starlink and I didn't have the internet to, access it, you'd be like, we're getting invaded right now.
Stop. It's pretty. It catches you off guard.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah.
We'd have to find that hideout. That would be so cool.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'd love
Yeah, legitimately, like, Tom, if you want to do that hike and search down Butch Cassidy's hideout, like, we will podcast on it.
that. Also sounds like an adventure in the West. to
Oh,
me.
yeah.
Oh, there
Say-
you go.
Get to a
It's
duel op.
a collab. I love
Oh,
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
collab. Let's go.
I like the sound of this, guys. And listen, if you can't get signal out there, you could just do it you could always do just a recording on like you could do it like via like camera or something like that. I don't know how that would work, but like you could do something like that where at least we get like the footage and stuff like that from there if we can't get some signal in there. I'd love to join though. Maybe we,
Well,
maybe
then come out.
Tom, we can expense some flights out to Lander, right? Maybe we'll try. We've got the bank account to start rolling out the private jet, right, Tom?
We're getting there. We're getting
Okay,
there.
all right, cool. the Green Dragon jet.
Oh, that would be
People
sick.
notice the rise in Tom's pitch. Yeah, that might be a fib.
Just a small one.
Tom wouldn't pass the lie detector test right now. That's too funny. That's too funny. Well, this has been an absolute pleasure. I hope you guys will come back. I feel like we've just like touched the surface here on your stories. Like I have so many questions now about Thailand, Blaine, and hiking because you mentioned we didn't get to West Virginia, we didn't get to Thailand, and there was something else. What are some of the other ones you mentioned?
Just wait for his Southeast Asia story. Oh my gosh.
Southeast Asia, okay. So we haven't heard about that.
So I did Vietnam. I did Thailand. I did Nepal for quite a long stint. West Virginia. We didn't really touch on. I guess I don't know. This is awkward. I'm on a podcast.
Get him some more Four Roses, guys. Get him some more Four Roses. The man needs to drink.
I will sip left.
But yeah, and then throughout the states, I've been blessed to kind of vagabond around, and I still stand by it. Colorado is the best. Lander, Wyoming. But yeah, I've just kind of bopped around, and I've been blessed by the good Lord to meet this fabulous woman, and she was cool to come into Lander. And but it would be an absolute honor to dive down further rabbit holes with y'all.
That would be great. And Mal, we need to talk, I think, more about about your adventures on the slopes a little bit too.
Yeah,
I think
please.
Yeah,
I think
that's-
that would be good. I think we need to do a Green Dragon podcast 2.0 times. I think we need to do a collab here or something. Something
Yeah,
needs to
that'd
something
be
needs to
so
happen.
much fun.
I think it'd be a blast. Even if it's just getting on and making sure we have some more bourbon present. You know what I was actually thinking? This was something me and we're kind of mulling over right now because we've got another show that we do sort of weekly. It's called Foolproof. It's kind of, Tom, what would you consider Foolproof? It's more of our like comedic takes on current events, right?
I think that's a good way to describe it. Yeah.
I think that's the best way to describe it. So we do, so we look at current events and stuff going on in the news and or like articles or whatever, and we do comedic takes. The whole thing about it is it's called Foolproof because it got a little out of hand the first episode we did, and so we're like, it's like a whiskey, it's like uncut, unfiltered, it's foolproof. So
There we go.
we started an Instagram, and we're gonna figure out a way to write off bourbon. That's our goal here.
Yes.
So we've started the Foolproof Drinks Instagram, and all we do is post bourbon, like my bourbon pickups on
Oh
there.
my
Yep,
God.
there we go.
This
is
I love
great.
it. I love it. I love it. So I think what we need to do is that cork pop. Yeah, let's see if I can get I don't know if this will come through. Did that come through?
I heard it.
Okay, there we go. Okay. So yeah, we've got to maybe have like maybe we do another Green Dragon, and then we do like a Foolproof, and we drink plenty of bourbon on it, Blaine. And what I'll do is I've already done this for one of our co-hosts. I flew down to Dallas, Texas, where he's at, and his name's Jack, and he's our co-host on that show. And I flew down there with 12 2-ounce sample bottles from my collection of just different stuff, and we did like we did a tasting and stuff like that, and it's kind of fun. So what I would think about doing is maybe sending Tom a package and then Jake a package, and then we could all sit down and have a Foolproof bourbon tasting episode where we bust out some things and try them, if you're up for that.
That'd be fun.
I
That'd be
don't
great.
believe in bourbon.
No?
Stay in school, kids.
Are you sure? As he pours himself another glass of Four Roses.
How old is that little dog here? I haven't kept an eye on you.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
maybe
shit,
No, it sounds
maybe we do
wonderful.
maybe we do something like that too. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be wonderful.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. So well, this has been an absolute pleasure. I really appreciate you guys taking an hour or so out of your night to get on and chat with us and tell us about everything. Do you guys want to do you guys have any like website, social media you want to plug? We'll put it in if you give us it, we'll put it in the show notes too. But is there anything you want to plug for the magazine?
We're working on it, man.
Okay.
It's adventuresinthewest.com.
Adventuresinthewest.com.
We're
Got it.
working on building it as we speak. That's
Perfect.
what it is. So
Perfect.
I
So
appreciate that.
We'll put Adventures in the once you guys got the website live, you let us know. We'll put it in the show notes. And
Appreciate you guys.
and we can-
Thank
Thank you.
and we can absolutely put it up on our Instagram once it's live as well. But we'll try to promote this as much as we can because I think what you guys are doing is really great, and I'm really happy
Thank you.
that
Thank
you're
Yeah, we're so
really happy you're pursuing this because I think you guys will do some great things with this. Really looking forward
Thank
to
you. man.
seeing what that first copy looks like.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah, after that, you can make your assumption.
All right, perfect.
I'll
make
frame
sure.
it. You don't have to.
I'll make sure I get my hands on that first copy so I can throw it up on my shelf
Right.
next
Sitting
to.
next to that Sitting next to that Cubbies.
Is that 2016
Sports
Cubbies Sports
Illustrated.
Illustrated? It's right up there with it. It's right up there with it. Oh,
Thanks, you guys.
I love it.
Honestly, it's been a
No, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you. But yeah, I'm going to thank everybody that tuned into this week's conversation. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, because we sure did. If you did, drop us a like, leave us a review or a comment. We always appreciate hearing back from you guys that are listening to this. If you liked what you heard and this is your first time, find us at the Green Dragon Podcast on YouTube, Instagram, and Truth Social, and the Green Dragon Pod on Rumble and Twitter. You can listen to the show, new episodes every week on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you like whiskey and good laughs, you can tune into the Full Proof Podcast, the one we were just talking about. It will have episodes, I like to say bi-weekly. We sometimes surprise you with a weekly podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, because we can't post on YouTube because YouTube hates the content we put out because it's a little too on the edge. So you can find us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and then Rumble as well. Shout out to Rumble for letting us post our content on there. And then you can find us on Instagram, the Full Proof Drinks, see what fuels the Full Proof Podcast. And you get to see a sneak peek in my whiskey collection.
Oh, yeah.
But until next time.
I saw it and it's awesome.
Blaine, it's Blaine approved. All right, that's all that matters. Blaine approved. That's all that matters. Until next time, folks. Be safe. Fight for what you believe in, and most importantly, be a good American. God bless.